Hey, welcome everyone. Welcome,
Hi.
welcome Steph and Louise as well. Thank you for joining. My name's Maxine and my co-hosts are Stephanie and Louise. And something we all have in common is we've all studied at the Institute of Women's International and we're all certified transformologists. Now today, what we've got for you is a little self-development activity, and we've got some questions and answers that we can do at the end. So if you could hold off your questions and answers till the end, that would be amazing. And then we're going to start first with Steph, and she's going to tell us a little bit about her before and after story, and then we'll go on to Louise and myself, and then the activity. So let's just start off with Steph, and off you go, Steph.
Thanks, Maxine. Hi, everyone. It's so lovely to be here in this community. Thank you for tuning in. So my name's Steph, and I've struggled with my confidence from when I was about 8 years old. I got bullied quite a lot. I felt like really unaccepted and that I couldn't be myself. I had anxiety, depression. I developed chronic pain as well, and I just felt like so overwhelmed, and I felt like I wasn't good enough, and I was just struggling every day to cope with everyday life. I felt like an empty little egg, like all the good stuff had just been scooped up and thrown away, and I was just this fragile little person that just sucked the joy out of every situation. I felt like I was sucking the joy out of my relationship. When I was in different situations, I felt like I was there, but I wasn't really there. Like people were having fun and laughing, and I was just like pretending, and I'd just put on this face and pretend I was okay, and no one really knew how much I was struggling. And I would go and cry in my lunch breaks at work, and I just remember saying to my husband one day, I am not okay. And I tried a lot of other things. I tried psychology, counseling, pain management programs, mind body programs, I felt like a failure because I felt worse and worse that these things weren't working right. And I was like, I must be so broken that these things can't fix me. It was a really dark time for a really long time. And thankfully, I found Creatrix, which is what we're all trained in, and that just gave me my life back. Not even back. I was better than I ever was. I actually had confidence. I'm able to go out and do the things I want to do. I don't feel anxious. I haven't had anxiety for 4.5 years now. The world is my oyster, and my relationships are so much better. I believe in myself. I go out and do the things I want to do in my life. So my life's completely turned around, and now I help women to do the same thing.
Oh, amazing. Thank you, Steph. All right, Louise, your turn.
Hello, I'm Louise. I am in this space because I believe that what we know in this group is amazing. It's years of personal development is wonderful and it's good knowledge, but gelling the knowledge to life itself, there's a gap. And it used to get to me every time after these events. I'd be fine for days and then life would set in, and then I would not quite understand how you made this happen here. So that gap there is why I'm here. I believe it's a really important gap, and I also believe that there's women out there that can learn what that gap is to get them to catapult into the life that they want. I'm a true believer of this. I found it, never went out to teach this or be a facilitator, but because it's so good, I really want a lot more people to know, or women to know about it. I am a mother of 3 adult daughters. I know what it's like to raise women, girls. And for myself, I just believe it's something that has helped me overcome a few challenges that I've gone through. So yeah, we're here to serve. We're here. This is my contribution. And I love this group because I know the work that we do. And also, if we're challenged in our life, we get this stuff done on us so we can move forward to be the best for the others. So yeah, so I think that explains my story a little bit. Maxine?
So my story is that I was in a marriage for, well, 20 years, but 10 years we were together before we got married. So when the marriage ended, I struggled for a long time because I was just lost. I was so used to having a partner for 30 years, and then all of a sudden found myself on my own, a bit, uncertain of the future, and I was frightened, and there was, lots of issues that went on in the relationship that I lost a lot of self-confidence. And so I went on my self-development journey, and I did like hypnotherapy. I had done all the self-help books and all Tony Robbins courses, and you name it, I tried it. And I even went to psychologists, and as good as everything was, I still felt like there was something missing. So there still felt like I wasn't good enough. And I knew I wanted to help women because I was working in the beauty industry, and often in the beauty industry, you get to talk to the women quite long while they're there getting their services done. So they always walk away saying, they felt really good after, we'd have our chat. But I never felt truly confident in myself that I knew I could help them. So when COVID happened and we went into lockdown, and I went online and I was searching for something for myself, and that's when I found Creatrix, and I had that done on myself, and then I loved it so much I also did the course. And since then, now I have an online business, and I no longer work in beauty services. I feel like I used to make people look beautiful on the outside, but now I make them beautiful on the inside, which is even more important, because if you feel beautiful on the inside, you just naturally feel glowing and beautiful on the outside. So, for me, it's helped me with my confidence. I never could believe that I could help all these women, and now I've got that opportunity, and it's something I've always wanted to do, because everyone was saying, you could do this, you could do, and I'm thinking, oh no, I don't know enough about coaching, and no, I'm not that confident. And then when I did the course, the amazing group of women, the amazing trainers in the course, the confidence that you get, it's just phenomenal. So my life now is a laptop lifestyle, and I get to be flexible. I can go to the beach when I want, and I can spend time with my family when I want. So my hours are flexible, and I absolutely love that. And I also get to help women, which is amazing. So that's a bit of my story. What I want to do now is, because we've told you a little bit of a backstory on all of us, we want to go into an activity. So if you could grab a pen and a paper, if you don't have a paper and a pen, then just put it in the notes in your phone, that's fine. And I'm going to hand it over to Steph, and she's going to start the activity off, and then we'll go into a little bit of reflection at the end. So if you could start the activity, that would be great.
Thanks, Maxine. So this is all about you guys now. So you get to look into yourself and identify some of the things that are going on for you. And what we're going to do is we're just going to choose one emotion. So I want you to pick that one emotion that you feel most often, the one you get triggered by, the one that's with you more often than not, the one that comes up very easily more than the others. So pick that emotion. For you, it may be anger, or feeling anxious, or feeling overwhelmed. Whatever that is for you, just pick that one, and we're going to focus on that emotion right now. So what I want you to do is have a think of what would have to be happening, who you would have to be with, and what you would have to be doing for this emotion to get triggered and to feel like so intense. There's no other way you couldn't feel that emotion if this thing was happening right now. So as an example, maybe if you're public speaking and you have anxiety, you know that if you were plopped onto a stage, you would be feeling anxious. So think of a scenario that would have to happen for you to feel the emotion that you've picked. And I want you to just quickly write down what that is. So now I want you to really imagine being in that situation right now. So feel what you would feel, hear what you would hear, see what you would see. And I want you to write down, while you're in that situation and imagining it, what are you focused on? So what are you focused on in that scenario? And then what I want you to do is also write down what you're believing about yourself. So when you're in that situation, what are you actually believing about yourself? And then what are you physically feeling in your body right now? And then on a scale of 0 to 10, 0 being not at all and 10 being so much, it's really intense, how would you rate the feeling of the emotion that you've picked? So say it's anger. If you're just picturing this situation that would make you really angry, how strong can you feel angry right now? On a scale of 0 being nothing to 10 being extreme. So this is an example of a chronic emotion. So an emotion that where we think of a scenario or event in the future possibly happening, or a memory, we can really connect with this emotion. It can come up really quickly and really intensely. So what we do and how we gauge it is what a normal memory and a normal feeling and emotion is, just on a thought alone, should sit around a 4 out of 10. That's a healthy level of emotion for us women to have. It can fluctuate, but if you've got a number there that you've written down that's a 7 or above, that is going to show you that there needs to be some intervention there. If you're finding that that's an ongoing thing that comes up for you a lot of the time and you're feeling more than a 7 just by thinking about it, that's an example of a pattern. And those are those patterns that we can deal with, that underlying trigger, the reasons of those automatic response that you're having just by thinking of that, that's triggering that emotion. And that's the space that we work in. So resolving that so that when you think about it, that emotional charge is no longer there anymore, and you don't actually feel that heaviness and that intense emotion. So if that's something that you're actually dealing with on a day-to-day basis and you don't want to do that, keep listening and keep tuning in with what we're saying, because you might connect a little bit more with us as well as we go along.
Thank you. That was great, Steph. So I just want to do a few reflecting questions as well. So on the same issue that you've just written down. So what I want you to do is to write down now, what would your life be like in 10, 15 years' time if you were to hold on to this issue or belief? So what would it be like? Write this down, and just whatever comes up into your mind, don't overthink it, just what pops into your head, write that down, and then we'll go on to the next question. So I'll give you a couple of seconds to write that down. You know, are you feeling frustrated? Are you feeling annoyed? So just put down the way you would feel if you had to hold on to that for 10 or 15 years. Okay. So the second thing I want to ask you to reflect on is, what would your life be like if you didn't have the issue? So what would it feel like if you didn't have it? Would it feel amazing? Would it feel freeing? Would it feel relief? Write down what comes into your mind if you got rid of the issue and you no longer had to deal with that anymore. Good. All right. So just that's just a bit of a reflection for you, so you can see you know, how you're feeling about it. And like Steph said, if you know, you want to talk to us, like at the end, you're welcome to, you know, put something in the comments and we'll reach out to you and have a chat with you. So next up, what we're going to do, I'm going to pass it over to Louise. And Louise, you can just extend on anything else you want to, just to finish up.
Yeah. So what we invite you to do is, because this was done quite quickly, if you want to reflect on this after this, just look at the dot points that you might have put, or your notes. And as Maxine said, you know, if you don't get rid of this feeling or these negative emotions, what's life going to be for you in, say, 12 months, 5 years, 10 years? But instead of looking at the negative part of that only, once you've looked at that, maybe flip it on its head and see how life would be for you if you had the life that you would like to live. So yeah, so you look at what's happening today. If you don't change it, what life is going to be like if you don't make the change. And then if you have the opportunity, which we're giving you now, to be able to change that, what life will be like for you. And let yourself visualize and use your imagination, because as adults, we don't imagine things like children. As children, we are really encouraged to use our imagination, and unless you're in a creative space, we can lose that, but that's what's going to get you to the place you want to be. So that's something you can do after this call, and I think it's a really creative way of starting to realize you can have the life that you want if you actually write it down on paper. Which I suppose also leads, if that's okay, ladies, I can continue. It's about epigenetics. You know, this model that we work with, we take in the brain, the heart, the gut. It's a method for women. It's been discovered by a woman for women. And when we say women, women are born with uterus. It doesn't matter how they do life now. They're coded with the feminine cell. And you know, sometimes we give ourselves a hard time because we feel a certain way and we know we don't want to be like that, but we just can't get rid of it. We've got an opportunity here to explain to you over the next couple of weeks of our work and how we found a way of releasing it. Epigenetics is one of those things that we can carry things through our bloodline from past generations. And it's true. It's real. Science has proven that. And this is why I like this work. We take in our cycle, we take in epigenetics, a bit of biology. It's the whole package, and we're dealing with our negative beliefs, but it's not a really traumatic experience. It can be a very calm experience if it's handled the right way. And obviously you have to be right and ready. So I think that's explained that part of it, ladies. Is there anything else you want to?
Yeah, I just wrote a few notes because while you were talking, Louise, I thought of a few things. And we were actually talking a couple of minutes before we came on live, and we were talking about how it's really hard for us to connect to our old self and our old story.
Right. Yes.
Because once you've had this amazing modality, the feelings go away. So those feelings of the past, the way you were feeling, they're gone. So if you were, say, an overthinker, I don't overthink anymore. So it was a bit weird at first because I was so used to overthinking everything all the time. Now it's like this peaceful space in my head. But at first it felt a bit weird because it felt like cloudy because I wasn't used to not having my head overthinking. I was like, what's going on, you know? And then I realized, yeah, I kind of realized, wow, this is calm. This is what calm feels like in my mind. So that's one thing that I just wanted to mention. And I also wanted to mention that it's long lasting and profound. Like, so like other methods that I tried, like psychologists and hypnotherapy, they were good at the time. But then when I went away, I felt my issues coming back up, or my overthinking was coming back. It felt good for a few days, but then the issues, you know, you go back into life and things happen. And it was like all this stuff was coming back again. And I'm like, I've got to go back to the psychologist again, you know? So it was like this cycle of just going back and forward all the time. And then once I had the Creatrix done, then the issue was gone, and that was no longer an issue for me anymore. And I think you girls feel the same. Is there a particular issue, like a strong one that you can think of that you did, that you got rid of, that hasn't come up? What was yours?
For me, the thing I noticed that I didn't even think I could help with, because I knew what my emotions were that I felt, but for me, the biggest realization was this head chatter. Like my head was going a million miles a minute non-stop, it was so exhausting, and it was so mean. It was like I had a bully living in my head, and it would beat me up every day. And that for me was the best. And it would beat me up and it would pull me down and tear me down, but it would also like bring up all these scenarios of like, what if this happens and what if that happens, and I should have said this and I should have done that, and what are they thinking of me, and oh my gosh, too many things. And now it's just like crickets, but good, in a good way.
It's kind of like a lot of women, because we overthink things and we make a bigger story of things than it really should be. Whereas do you find now when something happens, you can still sort of like, it's almost like if someone really upsets me now, it triggers me a little if it's someone really close to me, but it doesn't stay with me like for 3 or 4 days or weeks like it used to. Now it's like, oh, and then a couple of maybe half an hour later, I go off and I'm doing my day as usual. And then at the end of the day, I reflect and I went, wow, before I would be really upset and not be able to focus and get through my day. And then for the next few days, I'd be exhausted and drained because of it, because it upset me so much. But whereas now, I'm like, yeah, I still got feelings. You still have feelings. It's still like, oh, feels that stab to the heart. But it was like, you get over it and you just move on, because
it changes the perception. I think, Maxine, what we understand is the emotion that we attach to the story, or the story we attach to the emotion. And the story, if you're an overthinker or you've got a lot of chatter in your head, well, this story, we're talking about imagination, like the story goes on and on and on, and half the time it isn't even true. But we've got the ability now to realise, we don't actually go there anymore. It's not.
I love that. That's brought me so much peace in my life. And just for that one thing alone, it was worth doing. But to think that we got to do, most women have between 30 and 50 issues, and we got to do like 50 issues and got rid of them. It's just amazing. So, and this is all can be within 4 to 6 weeks, ladies. So, you know, it varies from, you know, woman to woman, because obviously, you know, some people have a few more issues than others. Some suppressed issues might come up in the sessions, and we work on those as well. But on saying that, you know, 4 to 6 weeks, I was going to a psychologist for like years, and with one issue, and he couldn't get rid of it.
The same story over and over and over.
Mouse on the treadmill, on the little wheel. So, and the last thing I wanted to say is it's specifically designed for women, which is, it was designed by a woman for women. So this is why it works so well. And we can go into that maybe on another session that we do next time. So was there anything else you ladies wanted to add? Any other thoughts that came up?
I think that, I don't know if I made it clear, that we do inherit our stresses and traumas from past lives. It's just what happens, but we can change that. That's the beauty. I think that's all that really I felt like maybe I wasn't clear on. But yeah, I think that's enough from me. What about you, Steph? Do you have anything else to add?
No, I think that's basically it. It's just, if you feel like you're seeking and seeking and seeking, this is the end of the line. It's like, you know, we got you. We know how it feels to be in that same boat, you know, and you've arrived.
And it's guaranteed. How's that?
Yeah, we stand by our outcomes, and we don't work with any women that we don't feel we cannot 100% help, because we put all our hope into people when we go and we want help, and then they tell us they can help us and we don't feel better. And I feel like it's a lot of trust that you hold with someone when you tell them that you can help them. And it's a very integral thing. You know, I want to hold your heart basically and say, I know I can fix you. I can help you. If you're ready and you want to show up and do what it takes, then let's do this. Like, let's move you past that quickly, and so that you can get on with your life happily, you know, and confidently, and not have this stuff be an issue again in a year's time.
Exactly.
And we do feel honoured to be able to help these women. We do feel honoured that they've placed a trust in us, but also we love the outcome. It can be a little bit addictive because we see their happy space in their happy place and their happy face. So it's great.
Yeah. Yes, it's amazing. So before the session and then after the session, and to see the change just within a couple of hours, and it just lifts your heart so much. It's such an amazing job. It doesn't even feel like a job. I just love doing this. So, well, thank you so much, Louise, and thank you, Steph. And if anyone has any questions, and you know, we can answer them, you know, later on in the comments. I think Sophia is going to put our contact details down there in the comments as well after the live. So I hope you enjoyed today, and we're going to be here again next Thursday at 7 p.m. So Australian Eastern Daylight Savings Time. I've got to get used to saying that.
Yeah.
So we're going to be at the same time. And next week, I think we're going to do a little bit on male versus female and the differences and why this modality is so amazing and works so well on women. So we're going to delve into that a little bit more for everyone. So it'll be a really interesting one to watch. And if you missed today's live, just watch the replay back. So thank you, ladies.
Thank you so much. Thanks for everyone for joining us today.
Yes.
Thanks, everyone.
Thank
All
you.
right, bye.
Bye.
Bye.